Okay, so welcome you to the first presentation, first meeting of the PG framework in this year, in this summer semester, and the next winter semester we will be together. And today I want to present to you the organization and how the PG will work. So this is the third time that this project group is held at this university, and so there is already some experience how the process is and how the work will be organized, and that will all work out very fine. Okay, first of all, what is the topic? So you're all registered, and there was also some presentation on what the topic is. So just roughly in 5 slides or so, just to summarize what we work on and what is the vision, because that's always good to have. So first of all, when we look at online social networks, then we see, okay, that's a very big trend nowadays. So people come together in the internet and they organize themselves, they set up their profiles, they create links between each other, and they communicate with each other, and they exchange pictures, messages, status updates. So basically the offline world is now mapped to the online world, and people just, it's very simple to communicate with each other. So that includes messaging, walls, so different kind of communication types, let's say email, asynchronous, chat, that's synchronous, broadcasting, so to everyone. So this is more to one person directed, this is to many persons. So there are different, so a very broad range of communication is supported. And in order to not just limit it to a few applications, so what is also typical nowadays to have this kind of apps, so that the common functionality can be extended by more, so by games, collaborative, by doodles or birthday reminders. So just the important thing is, okay, and so what's important? Okay, yeah, also there's not just Facebook, so we all know Facebook, probably we are all members of Facebook, but there's also different scope where social networks are now emerging. And this is to have different application domains. So what is, for example, very also coming popular, and are these, and also if you know Athos and their vision of zero email, they want to get rid of email. So that the goal is also in enterprise and businesses and firms to have something like social intranet. So that to organize the knowledge and the people of a company in an own social network. And Microsoft recently bought Yammer. Do you know that company, Yammer, with Yammer? And they are focusing on, so if you join with your email address, then the social network is only for this email domain. So if you join with mail UPB.de, then the social network only presents you people from mail.upb.de, so that you have your own separated social network for people at the university. And so this is also coming, and also if you think at other scopes, so not to have global networks, but just for the university or just for your sports club, or if you are NGO operating in some country, don't know, Russia or so, then you could also have your own social communication platform. So this is all merging together. So from global scale to small scale, the communication between the people is in the focus. And that Facebook is very popular, it's already outdated, but so what makes them special is the number of users they have, and second, the hours they are active. So if you look at other statistics, how long the people are in the network, that's very small, so minutes, and in a month, I think. So even in Google, if you Google, you just type it in, get the results, and you are off. But I think this is per week, can this be? And they are really very, very long time online. Okay, why should it be decentralized? So first of all, what is currently it's all centralized, it's all belonging to Facebook, and what can happen? Why is this bad? First of all your information, everything you put inside can be sold, so marketed. So you are, if you walk around in the internet, you leave some traces, and people, the information will find out that you as a person are interested in to buy some car, then you get lots of advertisement. Your data is used against you. So there's also some examples in Facebook where the users sent each other emails, so these messages over Facebook, and with some illegal content, and it was somehow found out that they sent illegal things, and they were sued, and they went to jail. So it's not that it's private, it's really not private. Facebook is reading the messages and is using it against you. And also censorship, if you try to put some weapons in your pictures, Facebook pictures, that's okay. But if you want to post yourself quite openly, let's say, that's not okay. So, and also if you have some specific topics you want to discuss about, Facebook still has, and other social networks, because so it's not just Facebook, it's also probably Twitter. There's the option of censorship. So if you don't want to have the content inside, then you can just go to Facebook and ask them to delete it. Also single point of failure. So also Facebook was once sometime down, Twitter is sometimes down. And what happens if they decide, okay, we close it all and decide to ask money from everybody, then all your data that you put in is basically lost. And it can be also attacked. If there were also examples in Egypt when Facebook was shut off to hinder the people from communication. Yeah, and when they do not cooperate with the governments make them to do, otherwise they're shut off. And also, yeah, as I said, the topics, what you can talk about is critical. And so you see, you can participate, but only to their rules. But sometimes you have your own rules and you want to follow your own ideas. You don't want your data to be misused, and you do not want other people than those who you defined to see your data. You don't want your data to be censored, and you don't want governments to access your data and to tell you what you are allowed to talk about or what not. And that's why the centralized approaches, they cannot fulfill this requirement. Okay, so there are other decentralized approaches. I will just quickly go through it, so not in detail. So what you can do is to set up your own web server. Oh, okay, you can also take something like BuddyPress, that's like WordPress, but for social networks. Install it on your own web server and ask people to join. Still, that's also not secure. You could have a federation of private web servers. That's very popular with friend of a friend, or diaspora is also like that. And there you have a little decentralization, but that's more like Web 1.0 when you put up your web server and you put links to other web servers. It's also not very attractive from the application. What you could also do is to have a central point, but all the data is stored at the clients, and the server just tells where you find the content that you are looking for. Also okay, because the content is not censorable, but the access to it. So what I think is that peer-to-peer would be a solution. And what means peer-to-peer? That means that we really do not have any kind of central instance, but we only use the devices of the clients, of the users, and with that enough resources come together to operate such a network, such an application. And in order to make it really reliable and secure, it's very challenging and task for the PG. Okay, so what should it have? Let's say, what are general requirements just to, why is it different or difficult now in comparison to file sharing, let's say? So first of all, it's not file sharing. So in file sharing, you just upload your data, make it available, and people download it. But here you have also delete requirements. You want to have the data available, also if people are not interested in it. And there's lots of security requirements. So what you especially don't have in file sharing networks. So you want to communicate securely. You want to have access control. So you want to define who should get access to your data and who not. And you have attackers who want to delete your data, but they should not be allowed. And all these we don't have in file sharing. So it's really a wide field that has to be solved. Partially it's also solved already, but not completely, and which defines challenges for peer-to-peer based online social networks. Also, what is critical, quality of service. So the point is, if you use a social network, no, let's say, if you use a file sharing network and you want to download the newest version of the Justin Bieber song, then it's okay for you to wait for some minutes because you don't pay for it, you don't know any better source to get it, so you wait. But if you use it for a social network, then you do not want to wait for the profile. So if you click your friend's profile and it's retrieved from the peer-to-peer network, then you don't want to wait more than 3 seconds, let's say. And if it's 10 seconds, then you are already not happy with the program and you will deinstall it and switch back to Facebook. So the quality of service and the performance is really critical. So how can we guarantee the performance in a special way, response time, availability? This is also very new in the field of peer-to-peer to look at these questions. And so you will have some lectures on it. So you will learn what structured and unstructured overlays are. But just to say, we go more for this overlay-based. There's a big graph. Okay, just for this PG. So what are you part of? So the project started, let's say, 2007 with a master thesis, some consecutive master theses. So there are in total, I think, 20 bachelor and master theses inside, 20 previous PG students, and some other people. So it's really a big part. And the PG focuses also to take this big chunk of application and to individually each person or each 2-person group will pick out an open question and basically address this to try to solve a little aspect in it. So what can it do? So how does it look like? So we will see later on what kind of open questions they are. But currently what can it do? So the idea was to have both a Facebook-like user view, so yeah, Facebook-like, so a normal user view that you can use for your profiles, albums and groups and whatever, but also to have this provider view, because we have to have some quality, some view on the quality. Is it working good? So there's also some monitoring. There should be also some control plane that you can check whether the performance is good enough and take control of it. And the idea was how to realize it is to have a platform, and that's why it's called a peer-to-peer framework, the first part. And the idea is to have a framework with many useful methods, like modules, like storage, messaging, security, caching, app hosting, so different communication types. This is unrelated, so this is very general, so that's not very specific to social networks. This is very general, so peer-to-peer framework that can be used for any application. And on top of it, we have the social network, so it's peer-to-peer framework for social networks. So these modules are cleverly used by so-called plugins that are themselves very small and very light to implement, and they then create the application basically. And there's a graphic user interface to it, and that makes the social network. So it's really a differentiation between peer-to-peer framework and the social network. I think you saw probably the slide and the presentation. So just to give you the idea how the overall architecture looks like, and then I think that will also close the overview on this topic, and we will go into the organization part. So just to get you an idea how it looks like, and also how so many people can work on different parts of it. So basically what we have first, I would like to start with the overlay that connects the node and makes them just talk to each other. And you have the ability to find other nodes by their address and to find content by its address. And then there's this block of a framework part, let's say, where you can where you have secure communication, the security comes in. You have authenticated users, authenticated and confidential communication. You have replicated and secure storage. So here's the communication part, here's the storage part. You have different messaging primitives. That means something like multicast, unicast, pub/sub, and this kind, and distributed data structures like so you can store one data item and get it, but you can also have list operations or sets or trees. So that makes it quite easy then to build clever applications. and there's some monitoring to check what's going on, and some testing that can initiate some actions so that you have some things going on in the network that you can then measure. Okay, and then the social networking part, that's basically here in the plugins. So the mandatory plugins that every node is assumed to have, that's something like the profile, the friends, the groups, the photo album, and there's the optional plugins like I think the forum or doodle or something. And the idea is that also the plugins can use each other. So typically the friends plugin is used a lot by other plugins to get information on whom we can contact, and they can use each other. Yeah, the idea is to have something like in the Linux system where every application is stands for itself, but they can also use each other, and you can build complex applications with it. And at the end, we have the graphical user interface, which accesses the plugins through a comments interface. So, and now we have 16 people, and the idea will be later on to have people working in this area on the overlay. There are some open questions. We have many open questions here in the framework and some open questions here in the plugins. And typically, so the last time how we did it, when we had 15 persons, that we had 5 persons in the overlay, 5 in the framework, 5 in the plugin area, and these 5 persons individually, they split up into teams themselves, so 2 and 3 persons. And for example, the 2-person team was working on to support one kind of challenge, and the other one the security, let's say, in the overlay, and the other one the heterogeneity, to find some solution for it. And that's how the work will be organized, basically. Okay, that's what I said. Why it's good. Okay, so yeah, basically the framework is very good, and it offers lots of functionalities in the middle. That's very good, and it's very good, very fast, very outstanding in the world. Yeah, and it's that's really still the point. So there are 3 other similar projects going on in the world, because we see that they are also publishing and on the results, and I still believe that we are the furthest with the results and what we can do. And the social network on top of it, what can it do nowadays? There's this common behavior like profiles, friends, groups, walls, messages, multi-chat. There's also this extended, so this optional plugins, so you can one-to-one file transfer. At least that was addressed by the last PG, but I'm not sure whether this is, I would say this is not really functional, but the next one is, so you have also one-click hosting, so that you can upload a file into the network, get a link, send this link around, and people can download then the file. Forum and Doodle is integrated, so you can have set up a forum in the peer-to-peer network and have a thread, create threads, create comments. There's and the Doodle to find a date to cooperate or whatever. There's an app store, so that was a big step by the last PG, so that you can really now have these plugins, the social apps, let's say, independent, and you can have them as single files that you can offer in the network, and if people want to have it, they can download it, and install it and load it during the runtime of the application. You don't have to stop the application, it's really starting when you click the install button, what you expect from the app. Okay. Yes, that's sometimes quite good, because people also ask, so if they are not familiar with peer-to-peer, we will have lectures on it, but just to give you the impression still, so where is the data stored when you store your profile? And if this node, for example, stores his profile, or in this case an album, then it's not at his PC, it's not at his friends' PCs, but it's somewhere in the network. And that makes it really then difficult to have the security, to have the availability, because the nodes being responsible for the objects and storing the objects might go offline, might try to modify the content, they might to change it, to read it. There are different challenges. And this is the one user view. Probably you saw it, how the graphical user interface looks like. That you have this Eclipse view, and each plugin, so this is the Friends plugin, this is the groups and chat and emailing, let's say, and pictures and profile that you can customize by yourself, switch around, turn off, turn on. This is how currently the graphical user interface looks like. Okay, so what is the plan then for this PG? So what is the goal? First of all, there are still the three big parts of work. So there's the overlay, there's the framework, and this is the application area. And for the application area, the course would be, and that's what came out during the CeBIT. So basically, where do the people want to have really an application? And the one part is the secure communication. So to have social networking, emails, voice, video chat, like Skype and emailing and social networking combined. But you would also like to share file structures, let's say not just single files, but a folder or several folders, Doodle, calendar. So you see some platform for communication, but which is secure, decentralized and censorship resistant. And there's not really a solution for that existing. Because nowadays if you are NGO, let's say in North Korea, and you want to communicate with your friends, let's assume you have internet, you're in a different country, I don't know which one to take. Any suggestion for oppressing countries? I don't know. Okay, North Korea is always good to take in this case. So I would have said China. They are trying to censor in some parts, but that's not good to take. Or do we have Russians here? Then okay, let's say we take Russia, and they want to suppress the NGO work, and the NGOs want to communicate, and that's basically just my idea how communication could look like. Probably you have also some ideas. And what kind of solution could they take? So they could set up their own web server that can be switched off. They could use something like Facebook, but the governments might also cooperate with them to get the data. So there's not really a solution how to support this secure communication, but with our solution, with the PG's work, we can do it. Because messaging, let's say emails, is already inside, social networking, yes. Some normal chat, yes, no voice and video, some simple file structures, some Doodle, but no calendar. And I think during the PG, if one application would come out that supports really this work for this kind of users who want to communicate securely, censorship resistant, decentrally, so it shouldn't be able to be turned off, that's some nice application that will be used. The second part, social intranet with the focus on e-learning. Okay, e-learning, while I was studying, that was, oh, not that again. You don't need that, that's stupid. Okay, but the reason is, it's unclear whether we can really find users for this and whether we can motivate it. In e-learning we can, so at least I can when I give my lectures. And I can ask the students to use it. And the idea would be to have some social intranet, also with parts from here. I mean, parts can be reused anywhere. And the idea would be to organize code, to be able to set up a course, upload the lectures, think of some communication aspects, how could collaboration or rating or whatever you can find suitable in that direction, what could be, and to really use it in the winter semester. Challenging, but probably doable. And then there would be probably a lecture with 40, 50 people, and I would ask them to use it, and I would upload the lectures there, probably the recordings that I do, and they should use that tool to download the recordings, to stream the recordings. So the application and the users can be found for this, and that's why that's a reason to go for this. And that's also the second application part, basically, that we would focus on. The third big point, what is written here, is to also test it in this PG, later on also in the winter semester, and to use it really live and to gain experiences. So the framework and application is quite roughly in that shape that it can be used. And it is doable to at least the alpha test. That means to have a selected member set of trusted people who do not try to attack it and who are friendly, and to use it to try it with them. And once that turns out well, and we have the feeling, okay, now we can really try to make it available to more users, then to start the beta test where we don't know the people, we invite them, we make it public probably, and then we might have attackers and mean and evil persons, and then it's more challenging. So this is also big tasks. And in order to realize these big tasks, there are smaller subtasks basically to focus on. Okay, so how's the whole organization? How will we do it in the PG? Members. Okay, so there are 16 members. They are all registered in Paul. I hope you are all currently registered. There were some issues with the PG size, so this number of 16 is really now the new rule of the Institute of Computer Science. Oh, that's not wrong. That's not right. So it should be. So this room. So the next meeting, and I would like to have Fridays anyway. The meeting problem is. So the reason is why Friday is always good. I'm not the whole week at this university because I'm working at another university, so now on Fridays here, and this time is fitting, and the same in this room is also fitting. So it's not F1 310, but F1 545. So at this room. Okay. Also later on. So first, I will say when we always will have meetings. Just the PG 2 years ago, and we like to take pictures. That's always good. And that's the last PG, so more people. And the PG also grew during the PG time, so we also got one person more. And that's some very spontaneous photo. That's how we work. Very spontaneous. So no, we like to. So that you will also see. It's good to take some pictures and to make it some public because it's also other people are interested in the results. And yeah, how is the time plan? So we will have a learning and preparation time. So seminar lecture phase. State of the art of peer-to-peer frameworks. Okay, so the goal is to have until mid of June, let's say, or end of June, the seminars and the lectures. And the goal is to, in the lecture, we will learn lots of peer-to-peer background, and in the seminar, we will use this background information to try to find solutions to open questions. So there are some open questions, we will see them, and during the seminar, you should find solutions, not find solutions, but find answers to it. Scan the related work, discuss them. Okay, so this is learning and preparation. Then there's the project phase, which takes quite a long time. And these should be milestones. So we will define some, typically 2, probably even 3 dates when we come together, see what's the status, and identify new challenges. So you won't get the problem to work on which lasts 9 months, but typically it's for 3 months, and after these 3 months so we will meet anyway, but after these 3 months we have this meeting again to see, okay, what are the next open steps, what would you like to do, how would you organize your teams, your sub-teams, and then you start again. Yeah, and at the end, participation of CeBIT, so that time it's also worked out very well, so everybody except basically the 1+1, they were not at the CeBIT as presenters out of other reasons, but this time I would also like to take this as goal. Probably this next year it will be the Hannover Messe. So this is the biggest computer fair in the world, the CeBIT, and this is the biggest industry fair in the world. So it's still okay. The reason is just for the financing, because to take part at the CeBIT, that takes. What do you get? What do you guess? How much did it? How much money was that? Some guess. 10,000. Yeah, that's good. No, it's 8,000 or 9,000. And the biggest part of it, to be part of it, the University of Paderborn finances to be part of the CeBIT, and the University of Düsseldorf finances to be part of Hannover Messe. If we are clever, we can be at both, but I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, okay, so we have the lecture and seminars, then we have the programming and this phase. Then there's the hard cut of the CeBIT where the results are presented, and typically the March, so that's first week of March, and then the rest of the March is used for the documentation and to finalize it, and then it's over. Okay. Yeah. So what is the goal? So the goal is to really have this distributed framework, so to have both a very good peer-to-peer framework with lots of nice functionalities inside, and also the social network with very nice functionality. So cool features, controllable quality. So it should be both a nice application, but also performance. So the performance is really important. If people want to use it, and it's not working well, then it's not used anymore. And that has both high impact on research, so also and also in public observation. So the feedback is very good, and people really want to have such a solution, but it's difficult to do. And also in research, so also with if I said there will be the subgroups, and you will have 2-3-person teams. So with some of them, where the topic's also very feasible, we are also writing papers and publish it, and of course then the people in the PG are the authors, and so it's really getting out many things out of it. So what is my role? So my role is to define the challenges and milestones. So I say, what are the problems? What are the most challenging problems? Because just from the history, I know where the problems are, and also what can be reached in milestones. But I will not tell you, you do this, you do that. We will also have some brainstorming and to define more challenges, so it's not that only my word is there counting. And then we basically have the assignment who works on what. I define then also with you the functional, non-functional requirements, so what should a solution solve and how good should it be? And to talk with you on the approaches, how can it be done? If you have some idea to talk with me, I tell you how it could be done. So my goal and your goal will be to find good solutions that work well and that are well tested. And your role, okay, you are also a manager, so organization in such a team is also not so easy. So it's challenging, and you have to see how the organization should be done. You're also a researcher, because you have to find solutions for problems that are unsolved, and to program it and to implement it. You will have to cooperate with the others, so you cannot work for your own. You have to have introduced as a PG an organization structure, a working time to find some solution how you can really interact, solve unsolved challenges. Yeah, that's also why such a peer-to-peer based social network is not yet existing, because there are really some unclear approaches, so how some challenges can be solved. And what you would also do is to find the solutions, implement them, and also to test these solutions and to show it's really working and it's stable and it's a good part of the framework. Okay. It's part of the university, so there's some grading and there's some assessment. So how do I tell whether how will it be tested, the quality of your work? Let's say it that way. There are 4 parts. Yeah, 4 parts. Okay, first of all, let's start from the beginning. A grade in the project phase. So that means how the individual parts that you work on during the project phase If you try to solve, for example, a specific small problem, how well you address this question. So how you find the solutions, how good is the solution, how well you implement and test it. The second activity in the PG, teamwork, management skills, because even if you do a very good solution and it's top and tested very well, but you do not cooperate with the others and it's hard to merge and you do not want to participate in other needed teamwork aspects. So the activity in the PG is also important, how to interact with the others, how to organize the work, how to contribute to the team. So what is the best? If you address a challenge, come up with a solution, implement it, and you test it and it's good. And here, if you share your work early with the team, it's easy mergeable, you help out in organizing events or meetings, or take responsibility in merging and testing and what kind of contributions the team needs. Okay, what we will also have the seminar and lectures. The seminar, let's say the lectures. So because not everybody is here at the lecture time, because you have probably other lectures in the meanwhile, now we are also not everybody here. I don't know, so I know you now somehow. I still don't know the names, so that we should have played a game on it, so to learn the names next time. Okay, but so in order to find out really whether you followed the lecture, there will be a really short oral test at the end, 10 minutes probably. And typically, don't be afraid, but no, there's no but. Don't. Okay, moment. Okay, I hope this is still working. Yes, it is. Okay. So the short oral test has the reason. So the last time there was one who I quite late found out he misunderstood peer-to-peer with peer-to-peer. So there's also peer-to-peer in the terms of money lending and financing. So you don't get your money from the bank, but from other people. And it was very late that it was found out that was his understanding of peer-to-peer. So I would like to find out earlier, and that's why very short questions on the lecture topic at the end, so probably end of June. Okay, and there's also the seminar. The seminar itself has 3 parts. So first of all, so we will have the slides on the seminar, what the requirements are. But you will get a topic, you will choose a topic, and you will have to write a paper about it. The quality of the paper is one point. And then this paper will be shared with the others. You will get 3 reviews. So 3 other people will write a review on it, and you will also write 3 reviews on papers of others. And the quality of your reviews, how well you write the reviews, how much effort you put into them, that's also graded, and how you present it. So that's what comes into all grading, let's say. Okay, dates, lectures, seminars. So the seminar will, how it will be organized, it will take place from April to June. 1 topic per person, announcement. Okay, announcement today, it's written. So the announcement is consisting of 2 parts. First, I will present all the topics in short, but there's also text to each of these topics so that you can read, and I will put it on the website. So I will sketch the topics today, and the assignment should be next meeting, so you should choose until next week what you would like to have, and probably there's 1 other week until it's fixed. Okay, there will be deadlines. This is not true. It's not the 19th or 20th of June. It will be probably at the very end of June when the results and the seminars will be presented. So you will have the paper written, you will present the results. Okay, we can also have this weekly meeting. Typically, it's after the lecture, and the lectures will be all Fridays. So if you have Fridays I'm here, so we can meet. and that's the time that's reserved. If you have some questions for the seminars, anytime write me an email, or make an appointment. So write me an email. I would like to meet you, and then we can do it. Lectures. Okay, the topics are not quite fixed yet, but they will be not too surprising. So we will hear little bit on online social networks, and then we go to this peer-to-peer stuff. So what is peer-to-peer? What are overlays, distributed hash tables? What kind of security aspects we have? How we can evaluate the quality of a peer-to-peer solution? What is monitoring? How can we see what's going on? Live social. Yeah, that I didn't say. Do you know what live social is? No. There was somewhere this picture. So what is live social? So basically, if no, we don't have it. The peer-to-peer framework is called peer-to-peer framework. There's also a website for it, peer-to-peerframework.com. And the application, the online social network on top of it is just for historical reasons, live social. So the very first master thesis on it. There's. Could you please open? Yeah, good. So just from history, the very first master thesis on this whole project, named it Live Social, and later on, that's the name basically. Yeah, so there will be lots of lectures on peer-to-peer, and that's the background we need to have. And the weekly lecture would be at this point, in this room, at this time. Fridays it will be recorded, it will be put online. So quite convenient, and the lecture topics will be, as I said, there will be a small oral exam at the end of the PG to see whether you really took with you what you should have taken. Okay, yeah, the calendar. I asked everyone to participate, and then I found out I have to include you. So everybody who didn't send me a Google mail address, I think that's only 2 or so who didn't. Please do it. I will have to include you to the calendar, and then it will work. Okay, seminar papers, review management. There's this website EasyChair that's also used by conferences, and what it does is that's basically a conference management system. So we have a conference now. It's called Peer-to-Peer Framework 2013. And you can upload your papers, and you can also you will also do the reviews over this website. And the good thing about it is it's really, for this purpose, very convenient to use. We will also have, at the time when it's needed, a small tutorial on it, so that you know how to use it. What else do we use? Use a track. What is track? That's some software management tool. The last PG and the pre-last PG used Git to store the code, and we also have a wiki. I think that will be also what we will use, but I'm still not sure, because probably we'll have something that's not related to the University of Paderborn at the end. Okay, what you also used is Google+, because the good thing was we could send just messages that are related to the PG or interesting websites or so that we found that others might interest, but it's not so crucial, so that we sent around in Google+. Okay, learning preparation, seminar lecture phase, state of the art of peer-to-peer frameworks. So, yeah, again, lecture topics, peer-to-peer pastry. Yeah, so you will see what peer-to-peer is, what pastry, the main overlay that we use is, online social network, other overlays, and what kind of extensions there could be, security, monitoring, content distribution. That will be relevant for us because we don't really support it up to now. So if we have 100 users interested in the lecture, in some file in the network, they cannot cleverly exchange it currently. They can exchange it, but not cleverly. OSGI is something also that we will have a lecture on, because it's a little bit tricky. So the whole code is in Java, and it's using Eclipse LCP, rich client platform for the GUI, but also OSGI, and these are all modules that are independent and very modular architecture, which makes it on the one side nice, on the other side difficult, and we will have some lecture on it. Yeah, recordings will be hosted on YouTube. There will be at least I will put the link on, if you go through the website. It's not Sommer Semester 2012, but 2013. At least I will put the recordings, the link to the YouTube playlist on the website. Participation still needed. So if you have, yeah, that's difficult because you cannot I cannot ask everybody to really be here. So that's why there will be the exam. So the previously participation was needed, but now I will replace it by the exam at the end. There's the website where always some results are written, and just for you to know. So sometimes we will also try to update it, especially there's the project group. Probably we also had some news function, but I'm not sure. If you're interested, we can do it. Literature, so what is related, what you could read. There are some. Scholar Google is good. To look for peer-to-peer. Google, Wikipedia, not always. There are these books. They are a little bit all outdated. I can, in terms of monitoring and this overlays, I can advise you to read that. It's also online and freely available, so you don't have to buy it. But at least what the term of monitoring the whole architecture is related to, that's something to read. And also literature. There are also some papers to this peer-to-peer framework, and that will be also part of the exam. So I will make a list of which papers, there are 3-4, basically to read, which describe how the security in the peer-to-peer framework is, how the data structures are, how the whole concept is, and just this background you should also know, and there are papers on it. Okay, what's the time? So, seminar organization. Good. Okay, so how will the next 3 months be? Or the next 2.5 months? Time plan, paper form, seminar topics. Okay, so this is the plan. So today, 12th of April, organization announcement, fixing of the next meetings. Okay, fixing is easy, next Friday, same time, same place. Okay, it's not quite correct. So the seminar topic announcement, I will already now tell what kind of topics we have. I will put a document with the topics online, so where you have a longer text where you can read what really the questions are. Then you have time to choose and think about it. There will be a doodle where you can choose which topics you would like to have. And then there is some clever assignment, which is a topic you get, and that will be also presented next week. And probably there's 1 week more to have it really fixed. You have then time to exchange if you want, and so. Okay, let's say then in 2 weeks at, what is it, 26th latest, you have your topic. What is then the next step? At 1st of May, it's all wrong, sorry. There's another time plan. I have to, one moment. Where is it? No. That's, because I just recently edited this, and this should look different. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is now better. Now everything is with Friday. Okay. Still wrong, it's 19th, it should be. Okay, but the principle is the same, so we will, until next week, there will be the content online, so the document with the topics, you can choose, there will be doodle, And next Friday we will make a first assignment. After that you can still change for 1 week. 1st of May, Friday, deadline midnight, 1 minute before midnight, German time. So with conference papers and deadlines, it's always tricky. So even if a day is given, it's midnight, and I think East Pacific time or so that's the time in Los Angeles. So that's why it's German time here. And you should submit a paper structure and literature list. That means you should think about, okay, now this is the topic, and I want to write something clever about it, and how should this paper look like? So what will I write? What are the points? What are the arguments? What are the sections? What are the subsections? And what is the rough idea of the paper? That's what is the paper structure and literature list. So the point is, it's good to give you feedback on that before you write the whole paper and I say, you should have written about another focus. So it's good if you have the paper structure and you say, these are the sections, that's what I want to write about, and this is how the paper would look like. I can give you feedback on it, and it's much easier. But there will be also some examples how this paper structure looks like. Okay, then in 1 month after that, the submission deadline for the seminar paper. So 1 month you have to get all the content together, write a paper about it, and finish it. Okay, then the next day, 1st of June, you will get 3 other papers that you have to review. And you have time until 7th of June. So you have to read the papers, and you have to say how to improve it. Again, 1 week later, you have time to include the reviews. So the same day when the reviews are finished, you will also for your paper get 3 reviews. And you have 1 week to take all comments in and to create a camera-ready final version. Okay. Yes, and then we will have a block seminar on 21st of June. That's the plan, at least now, to meet in one place and then to hear all 16 presentations. And 1 week later, if during the presentation some other feedback came up, you have a week time to include the results and to change the paper. So it's not final, it's pre-final, and this is the final. Okay, and then on 28th of June, we would have then a meeting, kickoff workshop, a whole day, where we talk about what we do in the PG, what are the concrete questions to tackle, how do we split up the people to the individual problems, who is working on what are the open questions, and also in this meantime, during the block seminar and 28th of June, I think there will be also I don't know exactly when the exams will be, probably it's at this time in this week, or it's probably also in the meanwhile, so typically everybody will pass, so don't be afraid of this oral exam, but you will have to find time for it. Okay, what is the seminar, how does it look like? So you will not get one paper. The typical seminars are, here's one paper, analyze it, write something about it. Here it's not the case, so here it's more a question that you get, how can we do this and that in the social network or in the peer-to-peer framework? What kind of net traversal solutions can we apply? What kind of security for file exchanges can we apply? So what kind of solutions are out there and what do fit our topic? So you have to you get a question basically, longer text about the question and why it's important, and a few papers to start with. And then with these the starting papers you would read and you would get more insights, and then you would look for yourself for more solutions, more fitting topics. And the goal is then to really in the paper to answer that question, how we can solve a specific problem. Then you should write in 8 pages a specific template, LaTeX, IEEE transaction style, and write, so what is the question, what does related work tell about it, how do existing solutions look like, can we apply it, where are the problems, and if we cannot apply it, how could we improve these solutions so that it works for us. So you should really then write a paper about this question, about solutions, about how we can use it for the PG. What kind of tools? Yeah, LaTeX template, website, Scholar, Google. This website, so it's probably in the meantime a little bit shorter. DBLP is the short that you should Google for. And what is this? This is a collection of BibTeX entries which are very well formatted. So if you typically take the BibTeX entries from Scholar, Google, or from sites here, what is typically there, always they are inconsistent and something is missing. And here they have all the consistent style and all information is inside. And that's for the references. Okay, as I said, each paper will be reviewed. You will review also 3 other papers as well. So in total, I think you will get 4 reviews. So 3 of other students and 1 from me. Probably also some other people will join, but you will get lots of feedback. There's also a clear review form for everybody. So this is how the template looks like. Just to give you an impression, so it's 2 columns, as a title, as your name, and please, that's funny. So if you write your paper and you submit it, change your name. So it should be not be your name, it should be really your name. Okay, and okay, then at the end there will be some presentation, 25 minutes talk plus 5 minutes discussion. So if we are 16 persons, that's tough 8 hours. Is it? 4? Yeah. Plus a little bit some pauses. It will be in PowerPoint. What is important to write it good, scientific, so that you, to get the address, the question, you have to look for related work, you have to describe the related work properly and to compare it and to grade it. So scientific content, how well you write it, writing style, how good your language is. Please apply spell checkers, that's very easy to do. Also happened quite often that it wasn't. Review quality, as I said, how well you give the quality to others, how much effort you try to put to improve the papers of others, to give good feedback, and how you present it. Criticality of the seminar. So where's the issue? So typically 1/3 of the students in the previous PGs and in the seminars I gave failed. So that means the expectation is that 5 of you will not pass the seminar phase. So that's the expectation number. And this really happened. So I had the 2 PGs and I had 2 seminars, and every time that happened. So 1/3, probably, 1/3 really, that's the number. So it's very important that this doesn't happen to you. So the important thing is to work properly, know your topic, and most important, know what plagiarism is. And that's why after the first issue I had 2 slides on plagiarism, now it's 7 slides. So it's important to really know. Okay, but before I talk about it, there are the overview on the topics. So now I want to shortly present. There will be just 1 title basically. And the long description, I will talk a little bit to them, but there will be a document with the topics, with the initial papers, and it will be on the website. You can have a look, so you don't have to decide now, just to get now an idea. There are 4 big topics, topic domains, let's say, where in each 4 seminar topics are. So there's the user domain, that's basically the application, the framework, where all the clever mechanisms are. Then security is a big topic domain, and the overlay. Okay, in the user domain. So what are they are the open questions. So first of all, because we address the application of e-learning and social collaboration systems, it is needed to get an overview what it is not, what it should be able to do, and what it should not be able to do. So to really have some overview on what this topic is, and there are some commercial applications out there, Moodle for e-learning, also some others. For the social intranets, there's Drive, SharePoint, Confluence, Just Software. And the task of this seminar will be to make to look for other solutions also, and to make an overview on what kind of functionality they offer, what kind of quality guarantees they offer, how they work also, and to try to, if you found 10, 20 solutions, to try to describe them not individually, but to define categories so that it's easy to understand how current solutions work and what they provide. Okay. Then secure communication across countries. That's the other point. So their vision is, like I said, we have Russia or North Korea, and people want to communicate, NGOs or families or whatever. And what kind of functionalities should it provide? So what kind of solutions are there already for this reason, for this application? What kind of functionalities should it provide? What kind of attacks do we expect? And the whole paper will be then at the end useful to see, okay, this is it should describe the scenario, so what kind of problem we are facing, what kind of possibilities the countries or the evil people have, what kind of attacks they can do, what kind of functionality we want to have, what kind of solutions for there exist. So for example, anonymity or so we do not want that people find out with whom we communicate, but still authentication should be enabled. So we want to know if we communicate with someone that it's really the person that we are talking to. Confidentiality, so communication should not be readable. So what do we want? What is the problem? What can the attacker do? And what kind of solutions exist? Okay, then OSGI and interdependencies. So that's more one technological part. So here in the user domain there are less Git peer problems, so it's more general. So the OSGI part, so because everything is written in OSGI, and the vision is to once have something like a Unix, so that you have individual modules that can do specific actions, and you can combine them. You have interdependencies like in Ubuntu or Linux. If you want to install one with apt-get, one application, that's the dependencies are shown, and then it's really they are downloaded and it's working. And something similar should also work here. So how can we create such repositories? How does so first of all, how does OSGI work? What is OSGI? What it can do? What the dependencies between the OSGI bundles can do, and what kind of security issues for dangerous attacks can arise. So basically, if other people will read then your seminar paper on this, they will know how OSGI is to be used, how it can be used to build really complex applications out of small modules, and what kind of problems or attacks there might be and that should be avoided. Okay, and because this is something that we will also address, yes, audio, video capturing and presenting in Java. So we don't have anything really in this kind of direction, so voice or video chat or communication, and this would be really something cool to have. So how does it work? What kind of libraries do we have? How do we have to integrate it in operating systems? Or what kind of issues do we have to solve to have, let's say, video or voice chat in our framework? So how can we do it? What kind of solutions exist there? What can we reuse? And to write a paper on this, and to elaborate. Yeah, how can we support this? What kind of solutions are there? Okay, now a layer deeper. Okay, so the first one, so here are more the useful, nice modules that can be used for any applications embedded. And one is BitTorrent. So how does BitTorrent work? And how can we also make it work? So in our context, because the BitTorrent has the ability to share files very good if they are big and there are many users interested in it. And it's working very well, and it's good. But how does it work? So first of all, the paper should contain what is BitTorrent, how does it work, and second, in a social network, does it have to be adapted? So is there some special case that needs to be considered? Because we have typically small files, so profile picture or an album, and rarely bigger parts, and we have fewer people interested. So could we also apply BitTorrent like this, or are there solutions in the network, in the scientific community, that say how to apply it for social networking? And basically that should give a review of BitTorrent in our context, in our application context. Okay, streaming in small and in large. That's also always so going into this direction of real-time communication. First of all, live streaming should be supported. That means the time that I record something, it should be also received for video chat, for example. And on demand means I record it at one time, like this lecture, and later on demand, if you want to see it, you can have a look. What kind of solutions exist for streaming for live and on-demand streaming in peer-to-peer environments? What kind of solutions fit our needs? Can we have streaming one-to-one that's for chat, that's also more for the lecture style? So if I want to share this lecture with you live now, probably like Google Hangout, and here's more multi-chat video. So how can this be done in peer-to-peer fashion without centralized servers? What kind of solutions exist there? Okay, another point is that's also more technical, less peer-to-peer. We want to also access information in the operating system. So there are many purposes where we would like to have more information, like we want to access local files, and the vision would be, if you want to collaborate, we would say, okay, this and that friends can access this and that folder at my local disk, like Dropbox with shared folders, I don't know. And how is this doable? How does it belong on operating system? So how's anyway the cooperation of the operating system? What kind of information do we have on Java side? And what do we have only on the operating system, and how can we access it? And also for the monitoring, so sometimes we want to measure the current bandwidth usage, for example. And it's not so easy to get it in Java, or the current CPU load or so. So how can we, in general, access information from the operating system depending on various operating systems? And the fourth point is data mining. So we don't want to mine the data of the users, but this is a distributed. So MapReduce is the algorithm used or proposed by Google to make distributed calculations and to make some calculations if you want to find out how often one specific keyword existed in a very large number of documents, let's say. So it defines an algorithm for data mining to count the occurrence of words, and in our case, you would, for example, be able to make better statistics, to make better search in the network if we would have similar algorithms. And the question is, so first in the seminar paper it will be shown, so what is MapReduce, how does it work, and how can it be applied to peer-to-peer networks? What kind of scientific solutions, papers are out there that tell, can we apply MapReduce on a pure peer-to-peer network? What do we have to care for, and how can we realize it? And that's what the paper will be about. and also how can we use this, because it's really quite powerful. How can we use this for in our social network? What could be a nice application for it? Okay, security. Security is always this one very big topic, because if you want people to use the social network, it has to be secure. They will not use it for some weeks, and then some attacker deletes all their content, and they will not come again. So what kind of general attacks on online social networks exist, especially in this peer-to-peer framework? So you will have to look at the current solutions implemented in the peer-to-peer framework. Basically, before you should do an attack tree and think about what kind of attackers we could have, what kind of attack goals do we face, so what do the attackers want, what can they do, and how is the current solution robust against it, and what is still open. That's basically what should be discussed in the seminar paper, to really identify the open issues, and as a basis you will get basically documentations of the previous PGs that describe how the current framework looks like, what it can do, and you will have to think of yourself on how attackers could address this, so what they can do and how they can try to break it. Okay, secure replication is another point. So we have lots of topics, lots of data and storage in the peer-to-peer network, and in order to make it available, of course, the data is replicated. But this replication is getting problematic because we have also access control. Okay, content can be replicated, but how do we have still some problems. Should this content be replicated? Is it already deleted? Is the wrong content replicated? And there's also different approaches for replication, and like erasure codes, you will also see what this is. And to discuss in this paper what kind of replication approaches there are, and there would be good to have, and how it corresponds with security. So what kind of problems might occur from security, and how it could be solved, what the literature says how it can be solved. Monitoring is another point. Here's the sketch of how monitoring is currently done. So this is we have down here somewhere the peer-to-peer network, and every node in the peer-to-peer network is part of a tree, of one single monitoring tree. And if you want to calculate a sum, for example, so if we want to calculate how many data objects we have in the network, every node counts it for himself and tells the number to his parent node. And the parent node makes the big sum and sends it on. And at the end, the aggregated statistic is in the tree, and he is pushing it down to all nodes. That's how currently the statistics on the whole running peer-to-peer networks are generated. The problem is, if the nodes modify the statistics, or they drop them, or they try to attack, they can do it. So the question would be, in this tree-based monitoring, how can we introduce some security so that even if we have some malicious node, we can still aggregate the statistics in a way that we know, okay, that one we ignore, but the rest is correct, and we still get the total sum of all nodes except the malicious nodes. So how can secure monitoring be done? So therefore, the paper will present shortly how the monitoring currently works. There's some literature on it. What kind of attacks are possible? What kind of solutions literature presents, so what solutions there might be, and how solutions for us could look like. And the overlay, security question. So on the bottom left you see an overlay, how it would be. And what do we have? So we have nodes with some IDs, and the nodes are also responsible for some part of the ID range, and all data that is in this ID range they are responsible for, they have to store it. And there are different attacks possible. So you will all see them during the lecture. So Eclipse attack, Sybil attack, partition attacks, routing attacks, and there are already some countermeasures against it, but not to all of it. So this seminar paper on the overlay attacks will first describe pastry, the overlay that we use shortly. It will describe currently the security mechanisms that are already integrated, and then make a list of all attacks that comes to your mind and that literature describes, and to say how good it performs against those attacks, the current solutions, and where there are still some open points, and for the open points, how a solution could look like. If you don't have to find a perfect solution, I mean, that's of course a seminar, and the goal is just to look quite into the literature and to see what kind of solutions are described, and if you have some ideas how it could be done, that's good. But typically what is more expected that if some open points are identified and some open challenges, then during the PG in the group you will find a solution for it. Okay, and the overlay, the last topic block, NAT traversal issues and solutions. So here on the bottom left, there's the example of NAT. So we have a node behind behind the firewall, that's node A, and he can access both other nodes, B and C, but if B and C want to contact him, they cannot. So NAT traversal. And how can this be really done in the peer-to-peer network? Because we have many nodes behind NAT, and what are good approaches to still access the nodes behind these firewalls? What can we do? Social overlays, another question. So our overlay currently is very independent of the social structure. So if I have 300 friends, the overlay doesn't care. And typically, my friends would be interested in my content. So how could we adapt the overlay so that it matches more our friend structure? So to have the friends contacts, so the most of the contacts and the lookups will then be quicker to resolve. That's basically the goal. And it's the question, how can the overlay be adapted to support it? And what kind of solutions for that exist? What other overlays exist that use this idea? And what can be done? What should we do? The other point that many people asked us also at Cebit, but that's great what you have, so how well does it run on smartphones or tablets? And currently it doesn't at all, because it's a Java code and it's big, and we just have this Eclipse GUI, and we don't even know how we can use the smartphones, because typically we assume that if you have a smartphone, you have this traffic volume that you maximum have, and so you cannot really participate like a desktop PC which is connected always on at the university. So how can we support mobile nodes and smartphones in the network? And if one user says, I have only 30 megabytes per day I would like to offer to this application, how can we make use of it? So currently all nodes are treated the same, and how can we make something that considers how strong the node is, and if it's just a mobile node, then it should have some special role, but what kind of special roles might there be? So how can we really support this different kinds of heterogeneity of node capacities in terms of bandwidth, CPU power or storage, and how can we all support this? And the last part, how to test and evaluate peer-to-peer networks in the large of how to test and evaluate peer-to-peer prototypes like we have in large scale. So how can we, so what is important to do to make such a test and such an evaluation? Because the important part of the PG is that everything at the end should be evaluated in some way. There should be some test, any kind of solution that you come up with. If you do not test it and you do not have some graphs that shows yes it is working and it's working like it's expected, then we don't know that it's working. So that's really critical, and that's why we need somebody who has knowledge about it. If you have such a peer-to-peer application, how can you test it, what kind of other applications has been tested, what kind of literature is there, what are best practices, what do we have to care for and what's not, and to get some overview on this. Okay, so far to the topics. So if you have some, there will be a longer description of these topics, and that will be put online. So, and I also will send around a doodle and ask you to participate in choosing your topic. So that's basically what's next. And next week, I will go through the doodle and present how the current assignment, and then you have 1 week to change between each other if you want. Okay. That overview. So here, 4 seminar topic domains with 4 topics each for 16 persons. Okay, scientific working and how to read the scientific. So this topic will now be on how to address the seminar. So how to read, how to work, how to write, how to not write, and how to review. Just thinking about how to use the time most efficiently. Okay. So the slides will be also put online, so I will go a little bit quicker on the scientific working part and how to read and how to find content. But I would like to ask you to have a look at it on the PDFs then. So what is important is first finding the topic, finding the content for your paper, and then to writing it in a proper way. And what every document should have is a specific structure, so which sections you will have, which subsections, and some rough idea on it. And how to find papers. So what I typically do is to really just use Google Scholar, and that gives good advice. Or you can also download typically the PDFs. And if it's the big companies, publishers are ACM and IEEE, so the papers from conferences supported by them are typically good. Other publishers rarely are. For the bibliography, you should use DBLP. That's really a complete one. And yeah, what should be done? So identify relevant work. Try to grasp, to get the content and understand it. And typically the structure is always the same. So in the same field like P2P overlays, the abstract introduction and the structure are quite similar. So you don't have to read always from the beginning to the end. They all say in the beginning, yeah, P2P overlays are important. So you can already jump to interesting parts and to see, okay, I know, okay, this is another P2P overlay. Let's see, jump to page 3 or 4 where they describe how they do it, and then probably to the evaluation to see, is it really working? So don't always read it from the beginning to the end. Better sometimes to just jump around to look for that what you're looking for. And if you're interested in your paper, then and if you also address so let's say you got for your seminar topic a question like net traversal, then always check in the papers what is really the problems they solve. Do they really do net traversal, or is it something slightly the same but still different? And what kind of requirements do they set for their solutions? Because sometimes they have the same goal, but they assume things that we do not have, and solving these assumptions, it's almost not feasible. So that's already helping out in what kind of solutions we can take. Because like I said, yeah, requirements are sometimes not valid, and then you can jump, okay, if you know already, oh, that might be really the problem that we also try to solve, and they have the same requirements, then let's see how they do it. And that's then interesting, and is it really solved? So what do they measure at the end in the evaluation? Do they really address that metrics, that questions that are relevant for us? And often they strengthen and focus on their benefits. Their solution works best, but they ignore the drawbacks of the solutions. And the drawbacks are, for us, even more important, you must know for every solutions what are really the drawbacks of it, to not be surprised by them. So also try to focus on finding why a presented solution is not good. And how do you, if you read then several papers, how do you present it in your paper? Yeah. What is not good is to say, they are bad and we need a new one. Or don't say, I read solution A, solution A works like this, solution B works like this, solution C works like this. Better would be to give some big picture of solution categories. So to say there is the solution category for net traversal, which applies in general this idea, and there are solutions A, B, C. And this could be so that it's more like a tree structure, so that you more describe the categories and ideas than individual solutions. Then you think, okay, what is your judgment on the paper, on the problem statement, solution evaluation? Is it really a problem that you face? Is it a clever solution? Does it also show the drawbacks? Is it good? I think this doesn't really address us, but open questions. So what is open and what are the drawbacks? That are typically the points that are interesting for us. No, that I also jump over. And when you, okay, still to say some words. So what every paper will basically have at the end, a title that should be good, an abstract that should, in maximum 250 words or 500 words, summarize the whole content of the paper. The introduction should contain what the problem is and what you do, so to give an overview. Then there are sometimes literature surveys, background, specification, implementation. Okay. Many of you will have this literature overview on what others did on the problem. And evaluation I think we won't have, but this is typically what normal papers have. Okay, when you write your paper also, what is important, do some spell checking, use programs for it, that's doable. Also let it be read by other humans, and sometimes I also observe it, try also to find somebody from different culture, different mother language, because for example in Russian and Slavic languages, they don't have articles, and typically articles are missing then in language. The Germans, they have long sentences, and if some other Germans reading it, then it's okay. But if somebody from another cultural or mother language reads it, then it would be more observable and more noticeable for them that it's not normal English. Also, what you should do, if you have figures, use scalable vector graphics like PDFs or EPS. Do not use JPEGs, because otherwise, so it's scalable vector graphics are infinitely zoomable. You can always read them, and PNGs and JPEGs not. And also with colors, do not use them. So this is a colored picture, as most of you see, some of you. And typically, if you print it black and white, then it looks like this, and you cannot identify the details. So you should always keep in mind that your papers will be printed black and white. Okay, on correct citation, there's this, I think it's still there. Otherwise, now I will give a new link to the bibliography, so how it should look like. So just the important thing is, it's important to apply. So if you have the references in your paper, it's very important, the consistency. So it should be always the same pattern. So for example, all first names should be abbreviated with a point after it. Then there should be the title in this exclamation marks. Then there should be the publisher, IEEE, and the conference abbreviation and the year. And then proceedings of conference name, 2009. And the same year, so IEEE, ICPATS, conference name, and the year. So always serve it consistently. That's important. Why is it so? How does it look bad? So for example, it looks bad if you sometimes abbreviate and sometimes not. If you sometimes write out or reorder the first name and last name. So here, for example, it's different. If infocom, sometimes small, sometimes big, sometimes you have the place where it has been presented, sometimes not, sometimes it's just the abbreviation of the conference name, sometimes it's the whole description. So if one, if you present some reference list like this, then people will assume the same effort you put in your reference list, you also put in your paper. And if it's all various and difficult and very diverse, then they think, okay, you didn't put much effort, and also the paper will be the way. So try to be very consistent. So to not have big letters and small letter names, and just follow the rules. So you should not number the conferences. So it should not be the 8th conference of, but it should be always the proceedings. So the proceedings, that's basically the book, and that's why it's always where do you have it? In the proceedings, so in the book of the conference, and the order of information, so the family name, and so after the conference name, there should be always a clear rule how you write it. So either the conference abbreviation, then the whole, and then the year. So just it should be very consistent. Typically also, you don't have always page numbers, so you should delete them places where the conference was, should be deleted editors. It's always not always available. So that at the end you have a very structured presentation of the references. That's one important part. That's even more important. Because like I said, in the last project group, 22 participants started and 15 remained. So 7, 1/3, yeah. Before it was even 10 persons beginning and 5 failed in seminar field in the seminar. And in the last peer-to-peer seminar, that's I think one or 2 years ago, also 1/4 at least failed. So there's a simple rule. Plagiarism leads to fail. So it's very, very clear. So it's very important that you know what plagiarism is. And that's why I have several slides on it, so that you know what it is and what it is not. And if you're unsure, then you should ask whether it's okay to do so or not. So what is plagiarism? First of all, copy and paste of the text. Typically that happens if you have to review to describe related work, how they did it. What happens sometimes, okay, that's a good description, I take the text and now I have it in my own paper. But this is not allowed. So you should write in your own words how other people did their solutions and describe it. And what's also not allowed, so this is the very clear plagiarism. And some people find themselves clever and say, okay, then I summarize sentence by sentence. So I read the other paper, I don't use the same words, but I rewrite every sentence. That's also plagiarism. So if you follow the same line of arguments like the source document, and that's also noticeable, then we'll have examples, but that's also not allowed. So better read the other paper, read how they did it, think of yourself, how could I describe it best in that amount of space, and then write it yourself without looking into the text of the others. Also, what you should not do is to reuse figures without noting the source. It's okay to take the figure, I mean you cannot simulate new and take the new graphs, so you will several times reuse figures, but then write that where the source is, that you took the figures from somewhere else. And if it's just a simple graph, like 2 bubbles and 1 connection or so, then you could also do it yourself. Okay, also if you have, let's say, some solution, okay, that's how we should apply it, and some other people already published it, and that's where you got it from, and you describe this is my idea and this is how we should do it, then you should still think right, if others already presented the idea, where do you have the idea from? And what's also important, first submission counts. So once you upload your paper to EasyChair, then it's already counting. So that means you cannot say, I just wanted first to get the reviews, and then I wanted to change all plagiarism in my text. Some persons in last year said that. So the first time you upload, you should have it perfect. So that means if you are unsure about what you're allowed to do and what not, you should ask before, and you can clear it before. Aha. Anyway, the time is proceeding. I would just okay. Any clever ideas? The clever idea would be to save it. I think the recording